Brand storytelling. How did you start working with Shaq?
I am a surfer, so that helped out. You know, Jeffrey Couchon, he randomly called me up and he said, I've got a project for you to work on to rebrand the story of a surf museum. They're looking for a guy that knows surfing and can design. And I said, I think I'm your guy. California is where the stories really started happening for the entire world to experience surfing and what it was. And then telling that from living in Hawaii, where it came from. It was interesting shaping the Shaq's story, knowing that it's indigenous space, living there with the locals, and then going to California and then being there with the guys that actually travel the world and introduce surfing to the entire world from California. It, I think, allowed us, by living in it, to really tell their story in a heartfelt way. And I think that's how you need to tell a story. You need to really put yourself into the story and actually live it so you can tell it from that point of view.
Tell me a little bit about how you're using their social media to rebrand them to a younger audience.
Everything's changing so fast right now with social media. And something that's really popular is obviously using phones and using user-based content. The problem with that is there's no branding in it. When everybody's taking selfies, that's not a brand, that's just the culture of user-based content. So how do you create user-based content and still have it branded? And what brands a shot? Well, that's the lens you're using, the camera, how you're shooting it, how you're editing it, and obviously the logo being incorporated into it somewhere. So how do we combine those? So with the Shaq, we were able to allow them to see this idea of what if we put those two things together? Can we create branded user-based content? So what we started doing is going and filming people in the museum, filming interviews, podcasts, and things that looked like user-based content of people experiencing something, but shooting it vertical in a way that uses high-end cameras, editing it in an interesting way versus just a one shot, and working with the colors and the brand and the logo and everything. So combining user-based content and brand together to create a pool of content that tries to service both needs. History is happening at all times. I think it's not good for a museum to just lean on something ancient Egypt. You know, you see the traditional quintessential ancient Egypt show in every museum. Everybody's got a King Tut something. Our job was to think of things that are happening right now so they can start having some investment in the future. So as we were in Hawaii looking at ways to bring the museum to be current, we just started to realize that Hawaii, the birthplace of surfing, is just cooking out all these pro surfers everywhere. By being so immersed and trying to build this off-grid solar power water catchment studio to create conscious content for all the indigenous cultures and everything that we spend our time doing, we ended up meeting all these locals and seeing that their stories are really profound. Like meeting little Chris Davis and realizing that he's the first African-American to ever go after these big waves in Maui, and it's happening right in front of our face. So history is happening right in front of us, and it was a unique opportunity to take seeing history get made and take the retelling of the brand story for the Shaq and have them invest in the stories that are going to be history tomorrow.